welcome everyone. This is Go with the Flow with Swalo, our self-care awareness edition. And it's been a minute since we've been on here, but it's me and my wonderful co-host, Miss Lisa Dunn. And she's the author to the book From Dope to Doctor. And if you haven't got it, go ahead and get it and read it. And she can help you understand that just because you've been in certain situations and you may feel that you have been counted out or hit rock bottom, God has a different plan for you. He really has a different plan for you. So welcome, Miss Lisa. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I can't complain. It's been a long day, but okay, we're in it for the long haul. So yeah, it's all good. How's your day?
Right. All
How's yours
right.
going?
So far, so good. I woke up this
That's
morning and
it. That's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
just waiting for me to be able to get out today because it's gonna be a beautiful day. A
Oh
beautiful
yeah.
day
Oh
today.
yeah.
I'm gonna get out and probably go to the lake. Something.
Oh, that sounds like some fun there.
I was up at the state park yesterday for a little bit,
Oh, okay.
enjoying it.
Okay.
So
Hey, it's good
yeah.
to be able to get out, ain't it?
Oh yeah, because I was down for
Hey, that's what I'm
well
saying.
2 weeks for sure this past
Wow.
2 weeks, but the winter time is my worst
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
because I have osteoporosis, rheumatoid
Uh,
arthritis, and all that, fibromyalgia, all that good stuff. So wintertime is my worst. So
uh-huh.
yeah, but now that I'm, the weather's warming up, I can get up and enjoy it.
That's right. That's it. That's all good.
Yeah. So family doesn't have to be blood. Family
Exactly.
doesn't have to be blood. All right, boy. I can tell you a whole lot about that one because
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
with
That's
me
real.
going yeah, with me going through my situation of, becoming disabled,
Uh-huh.
if it were not for strangers and for my friends, I
Uh-huh.
wouldn't have made it through because my family, they actually forgot that I'm human, because you know how it normally is, the strong one, they don't need help. The strong one, when you need
Uh-huh.
help, when I did ask for help, it's like, oh, you don't need help, you got it.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you for real? Are you for real? Because I've never had to ask for help. But
Right.
again, if it were not for my best friend, I don't know where I would be.
Hmm.
I really don't. So uh your experience with
Yeah,
having
that's true.
family have
Cause man, when you're dealing with family, every time you deal with family, they think you want something. So family is sometimes can be your worst enemy. People you don't know, or you can be closer to people you don't know because I've been in situations where I know if I called on my family for it, I already know I'm gonna have 50 million excuses or things they got to do. But if I call on somebody else, just people in general, they'll help you quicker than family members. Family members always think you got your hand out for something, so it makes a difference. So I've learned to deal with people mainly that I don't even know. They seem to be the closest ones to me, the ones I don't know and don't know me, and I don't real well. I have to
hmm
call on one of them and. Man, sure, Miss Lisa, sure, Miss Dawn, what's your name? What's your name? Yeah, I got you. I'll be there. I'll pick you up. I do this. And I never heard anything else about it. Family member, they gonna call the next family member and the next family member, and it just keeps
you
going. And you be like, man, I tell you what, I never asked them for nothing else, or I never, asked them to do anything. So yeah, family can be the worst enemy most of the time, and most of
yeah.
the time that statement stands true.
Well, what I learned with my own experience is that is the comfort zone, that's the destruction zone, because they'll tell you, "Oh, well, I don't think you should do that," but they don't even understand
That
the
too.
conversation that God and I are having. He's the one
Right,
telling me to do this stuff, but
right,
then they want me to be comfortable in their little equation.
right.
Sometimes they don't even want you to surpass them and become
Exactly.
more than what they are.
Exactly.
Not even
That's sad.
understanding, but see, not even understanding, if you help me get there, we can all get there together.
Uh-huh,
It's
uh-huh.
not about one person being better than the next. It's
Right.
about us helping each other.
That's it. Yeah. But yeah, you're right about that. When it comes to your opinions or asking for advice, they'll talk you out of it quicker than they will to tell you to go do it. Because they don't, like you said, they don't want to see you. It's a good idea or something, but they don't want it to come from you. They rather come from somebody, anybody but you. And I realize, so I've experienced that quite a
Well,
few
if it
times.
were me, I wouldn't
Yeah,
do that. If it were
yeah,
me,
yeah,
I would do it like this. Well,
yeah.
what you should do.
It just boosts me up. Go for it. But they
Yeah.
don't do it. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, oh man, it's bad when it comes to family. And a lot of times I don't even know if they really know. Sometimes they, sometimes they don't know, and then there are other times they do it just because they do it. Just because they don't want to see you do it. And when
Or
I say
is it?
family, and when I say family, I'm not just actually talking. It has to be. It don't have to just be your siblings. It's just family members, just somebody in the family, whether it's your cousin them or your cousin them or whatever. It's just always somebody in the family, not necessarily just your siblings.
Is or could it just be them living in fear
And
and they
and
don't
that
know
could be,
that's what that is?
yeah, and it could be that as well because a lot of times when we hear something and if it sounds big or it sounds like the impossible, we don't want to take on it, because we, like you said, we fear what could happen, but we don't look at what success you can get out of it. We just look at the fear factor of it, and that's what a lot of us do. We when it sounds like it's, that old saying that says when it sounds like it's too good to be true, then it is, but that's not always the catch. It don't always have to be that way. Sometimes it can sound good and it can really come out to be good, but you never know if you don't try. And I always
Exactly.
look at this every time I try to do something or think about something. I always have to repeat to myself, girl, God said He didn't give me the spirit of fear. And so I
Hmm.
always throw that in on myself all the time. Why are you afraid of this? Why you won't step out on this? Why you won't do it? Why you won't challenge yourself? Why you did? And I'll sit there and I'll say, God said it just come to me. I didn't give you the spirit of fear.
Hmm.
I didn't give you the spirit of fear. So if I get on that do it. Even when I'm preaching, sometimes I'm in unfamiliar territory. I've never been there before, never preached there before. The nerves coming, I'm like, devil, you came in because God said He didn't give me the spirit of fear, and it takes over. And that's after that, I'm cool, I'm smooth.
Hmm.
It goes, yeah. So yeah, that's how we have to look at a lot of things in life. It's the fear factor, and it's up to you. Fear is nothing. I mean, you can't get something you never had if you don't go for it. You know what I'm saying? You got to go for it. If you don't, you'll be still stuck on stuff.
And usually the entire family at some point has the same fear
Mm-hmm.
because it's the program that was instilled. So now we
Right.
have to
Right.
protect the cousin, we have to protect the
Yeah.
sister, the brother,
Yeah.
whoever. We call it protection,
Mm-hmm.
not understanding that it's really
Right.
fear.
Right.
Not
Right.
living,
Right.
not living or walking by faith or
Yeah.
living in faith. And
And I think,
and I'm glad
but,
that what'd you say?
mhm. No, go ahead.
Now, well, I'm glad we're having this conversation because I just had this conversation with someone maybe last week or something,
Mhm.
maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And I was talking about, that's not walking in faith or by faith.
Right.
And they were like, Swalo, that's not what that means. And I'm like, well, what does that mean then? That's if you're living in fear and you're not stepping out and doing what God promised, because his promises is I will, I shall. We have to make the first step. We
Mm-hmm.
have to go ahead, and sometimes there's a lot of things that we do have to change. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that family, the family doesn't have to be blood. Sometimes we do have to let go of some of the blood family members in order for God to bless us in our complete
Mm-hmm.
harvest like we would like for him to.
Right. Exactly.
But some people they don't even understand that either. But
Right.
yeah.
Is real kind of weird because a lot of it depends on your family value. Some people are afraid of failure because of the family history. My family has always been this type of family. We've always been the people that are known for this or have that stamina that, hey, our name. is behind what we do, and we represent this family, whatever the family it may be. And so when you start talking about something out of reach, at least they think that nah, we ain't gonna do that because that's not the way our family do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't. That's another fear factor to me because it's just making an excuse. Sometimes just because your family do it, sometimes you got to break them, like we say, generational curses. But sometimes we got to break out. And hey, that's their family. That was my grandmama and them and their family, or my brother's sister's kids, and or whatever. Me and my brother's sister's kids, whatever. But this is me. So sometimes you have to go beyond what others think and how others feel about things because they ain't always right. They ain't always right on what goes on for you. You know, what God has for you is for you. But if you don't get out there and get it, you'll never know because I'm afraid to get out there and mess my family name up. Or I'm afraid to get out there, make a fool of myself, an ass of myself. I'm afraid to do this. Because why? I mean, man, if it blow up in my face, I'm gonna look like a fool. Well, so what if it blows up in your face? If you never try, you'll never know if you can succeed. So that's how I look at it. I've learned to just throw it in my head every time fear just want to come in me. I'm like, God said He did not give me the spirit of fear. Get away from me, devil. I'm not scared of this. I'm gonna try it. And then I've always been the kid that when you tell me no, I'm gonna do it anyway, just because you said no, I'm gonna still
I'm
try.
glad you said that because I've been
Yeah,
trying to tell these people,
yeah,
these parents. I'm like,
yeah.
you remember you was a kid too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And tell me no, I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. That was me. That was the kid. And I take the consequences later.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna still go out there and do it because it just feels right to me. Whether it's right or wrong, it feels right to me. I'm gonna do it. I'll deal with the consequences later. But if I'll never know if it's right if I don't go in it. You know.
So with me personally, okay, and I keep looking at this title, "Family Doesn't Have to Be Blood."
Uh-huh.
But coming from Texas, the
Uh-huh.
one thing that me and everyone, my peers, that I've always heard is family comes first. It's always about family, 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 family. That that is in the home and in the church.
True.
Now, the reality in 2025 of me in my life is I became disabled because all of the stress from my family took a toll of my body.
Uh-huh.
Now here we are doing self-care awareness, go with the flow with Swalo because Swalo situations will alter your life's outlook because I was taught one thing. And then when I lost my ability to walk and everything else because of everybody else's problems, and then when I was going through breast cancer, stage 4 endometriosis and everything else, then they forgot I even existed
Uh-huh.
because I was not the benefits were no longer there.
Right.
So it's like that's why I was like, be careful. We have to be careful. And now my whole life is really testing people's fate. I have to test them before I even, bring them in because I don't want to go through that again. Having
Right.
to go through cancer and your family is like, oh, well, I'm too busy. I'm too busy. But then they'll let other people, they'll
Yeah.
take care of other people and let them
Yeah.
come stay. And then I have to, fend for myself. And I'm like, but wait a minute, hold on. Something's not right. But I get it. But now I understand. Oh, now I understand reaping the harvest of the seeds that you've sown, whether it's good or bad.
Right.
Because if I wouldn't have done all of those things back then, I wouldn't be in my harvest now. So I don't
Right.
regret any of it. I don't
Right.
regret it.
Right. 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 Sometimes we just, like I said, sometimes we just go through stuff. There's reasons that we go through things. There's reason everything happens. Sometimes we know them. Sometimes we'll never know them. We just got to trust the process. And like we say, walk in faith, trust God, have faith, and let it be what it is. Because if we never take a chance on anything in life, we'll never. I feel like a person never fulfills himself if you never take chances. Life is that's all life is. Life is about chances. I mean, you win some, you lose some. You're up one minute, you're down the next. It never seems the way the same.
Mhm.
But just hope that the good outweigh the bad in what you do, because at the end of the day, we all got to give account for however it goes, and And when we get to them pearly gates and we meet him and we be like, Lord, why this didn't happen? Lord, you told me you were gonna let this happen for me. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and you answered my prayer and then I never seen it happen. And he gonna come and tell you, hey, I remember that day you did this, and remember that day that person told you not to do that. I told you to trust your own process. He said it was all set up for you. You just didn't take it. I mean, sometimes he don't put it black and white. Sometimes it's in color. We just got to find our way to it. But if we never go out for it, we'll never know if we can reach anything. We'll never know
Well,
the limits that we have and what we can do and what's instilled in us if we never take a chance.
I'm glad that
That's
you
my
said
way.
that. I'm glad that you just said everything that you just
Uh-huh.
said, because one of the main things that I've seen and I keep hearing is, well, mom or daddy, they don't want me to do it, and I have to respect them. And I keep saying you can't have two gods. You can respectfully live your life.
Right, right.
God instilled the talent in you. Your parents, yes, they did have you, but they are not the reason. And some people they do say this. Oh, well, I got my voice from whichever parent that sings. Oh, I got my art skills from whichever. And I'm like, but that is what is instilled, and that's the program.
Right.
I used to call it a generational curse, but now I call it generational programming.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I used to think it was a curse, and I'm like, is it really a curse, or do we just not get out and learn our own way? That's why I say we really have to step off the porch
Yeah.
and understand, what, because once we step off the porch and we get out there and we venture into the world and we get our own spiritual relationship.
Right, right.
It's very important to form our own spiritual relationship, because
Exactly.
if we do not, and I don't know how many times I have to say this, if we do not form our own spiritual relationship, we will keep repeating the same things
Oh,
over and over. I now have people reading the entire chapter instead of repeating the same verses.
yeah, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cause it's like when we're young in school, young, we are pre-programmed because we already know. Tomorrow this is gonna be what we do in school. Tomorrow this is gonna be my life. This is gonna be this. Is gonna be this. Is gonna be. We pre-program until we finally get out of school. Once we get out of school and on our own, we gotta let that pre-programmed mindset go because now life is happening as it's happening. We going with the flow of it right there. There is no I gotta practice what's gonna happen in life today. I gotta practice what's gonna happen in life tomorrow. No, life is just happening just like that. Just like that. It's happening. But when we young and in school, it's all pre-programmed because it's already laid out for us for the first 18 years of life. It's laid out for us. After that, it's just life. It's life. But they say life be lifing. That's what it is. Just life, and it's happening just right before your eye. I mean, you just making constant decisions, just like that, all day, 24 hours of the day. You're making conscious decisions. So yeah, it's a difference. And then you gotta you gotta deal with family, you gotta deal with friends, you gotta deal with enemies, you gotta just deal with people. And then you gotta pick and choose which one of these people you gonna deal with, gonna stick with, gonna be there for you. And then it may not be the family member. It may be the
Mhm.
stranger next door that you met five years ago, and then y'all just encountered again. And that may be the person that takes you to your next level.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's not family. Family may be the one that keep pushing you out the way. The reason why I haven't got where I need to go is because I keep listening to my family saying this. Girl, you can't do that, girl. Girl, that's only for other people. That's only for rich people. That's only you gotta have money to do this. You gotta sometimes everything is not about money. You just gotta have the
Yeah.
right people to get you where you need to go. And then that's where family come in. If it's about money, they're gonna close the door in your face just like that. I ain't got no money. I got my own bill. Everything is not about money. If you just take the time to listen, which we don't do, we
Mhm.
hear, but we don't listen, and we just run with it. And then that's how people uh don't make some of the things they're trying to do in life. Don't get some of the goals out of the way. Because I was always taught like this: do a 5 year plan. Do a 5 year plan. After that 5 year plan, and you feel like you reached in that, do another 5 year or do a 10 year after that, and just keep on dealing with it that way. But then along the line, there's going to always be stumbling blocks. But if you let people that you know whisper in your ear, especially family. They whisper in your ear and say, "Girl, you ain't done that in 6 years. Girl, you ain't done that. We ain't done that since we were kids. That'll never happen." Never know. Never know. That's what we
Mhm.
get from people that are close to us, and those are the people we call family. But them are the ones that, man, destroy us and
Well,
keep us from reaching to where we need to go because we listen to what they say.
prime example. I'm basically 50 years old.
Hmm.
This is what I said I wanted to do as a child. I said I wanted to spread the love, be this wonderful speaker,
Yeah.
whatever. And
Hmm.
my family kept saying, "You can't do that because of the blood that you have in
Right.
your veins. You have your daddy's blood in your veins. You're gonna be just like his side of the family." That's all I heard.
Hmm.
So that's what I thought. And I went
Hmm.
out there and I lived the way that his side of the family lived.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I ended up hurting myself. Well, no, I didn't destroy my life. I
Right.
couldn't,
Right. Yeah.
but I
Right.
had to, not, but so I had to look back out of all of the negative things and make something positive, which is what everybody said I couldn't do. So, like I said, I've been on Clubhouse 2.5 years, almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in August. In my own space, started, this podcast. So that's what I'm like, people will tell you, my family,
Yeah.
because they were comfortable with me being the go-to person. So
Right.
if I was, and I'm the black sheep,
Right. Right.
if I were to actually find out who I am and whose I am, then that means I won't tolerate or accept the things that they dish out anymore. And that's some of the problems with people. They don't want you to find out how they're really mistreating you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people don't want you to really find out the truth about certain things, especially if it's going to benefit you. If it's going to benefit your life or benefit you in any positive way, people gonna go around the block just to try to tell you this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work this way because I tried that years ago. You never tried this, but you'll say you tried it or you done it or I've been down that road. They'll say whatever they can to distract you from going forward. And if you sit there and you listen to it, then that's where you mess up at. But sometimes you got to step out on faith and do it. Because I mean, if you look at all the people that probably right now that are billionaires. All the people that somebody said that never amount to anything, that'll never be able to do anything, the life they lived, if they listened to everybody that told them something, man, they wouldn't be where they are today.
Hmm.
Yeah, I look at all these athletes and all that. I mean, I tell people all the time they got a break that I didn't get. They got a break that we didn't get. I mean, because I know they've done some of the same things that we've done. They live some of the same lives that we live. It was just meant for them when it wasn't meant for us, or they stepped out and we didn't. And that's just the way it is. All these people, you just because a lot of it, you especially with athletes, they start showing their colors after they've been there and started getting the money. So I'm
Hmm.
like, man, this bro was like this all along. Man, they just didn't know it. I mean, he had this inside of him all along. This attitude, this anger management, this beating up on women. This was already in this brother. Now that he's making money here on TV, you seeing it. But this was
Hmm.
the same brother that was doing this when he was in school, doing. But he just got that one break that
Hmm.
he trusted, and he decided, say, I'm finna go for it. And that's what happens to a lot of them. They take their anger, frustration, or whatever, and they put it into stuff and it comes stuff. And then there are some of us who's so afraid to do it, or so afraid to
Hmm.
step out on anything. Whether we've been incarcerated and hate to come back and try to do something different, we limit it because the world says it. Well, people say
Yes.
you can't do it. No, but if we just push, just get sometimes when we get right there to it, we stop, we give up. If we just push that door open, just kick that door down, man, we could have walked into the destiny. But
You
we
know,
stop when we get right there at it.
another thing, I was told by a lot of people, okay, God can't use anyone like you.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, why not? Well, look how you look. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I'm like, but he made me like this. He made me look. I mean, I didn't take anything. Somebody asked me one day, so how long have you been on hormone therapy? And I'm like, what? And you know what? I really did not know how to take that.
Huh. Wow.
I was a little upset. Now
Mm.
the old me would have said, would have gave him a little few choice words.
Right, right, right,
But
right.
I was like, no, I'm like, I had a hysterectomy 13 years ago, and it changes a lot of things, especially when you don't have any estrogen flowing through your body. So, but a lot of people don't understand and get that either. But yeah, I've been told that, well, you can't do what you're doing because God doesn't hear you. Somebody told me that just a few weeks ago. They said every time I pray, that the God that answers me is not the same God that answers the Christians, because I'm different from everybody else.
What do you mean you different?
I look different.
How you look different?
I look different. I look, instead of me looking like a woman, I look like,
There's a whole lot of people look like. There's a whole lot of people that look different like that, but
well, this
that's
this
not
is what
the
this man,
God accepts the heart, not the outside appearance.
but see, this is what, and this is what I'm saying. This came from of a man
Okay,
of God that's supposed to be in church.
right.
He's supposed to be a church man.
Mhm.
He speaks in the church, which I don't know, because we were on Clubhouse when this happened.
Mhm.
And that's why I was like, it's people like you that keep people
People
down.
like me from not going to church and doing
Yeah,
this. Okay.
yeah. But just like I say, I'm doing it for a reason. I have to do this because there's so many people that, because I came from a family again saying God can't use you. God's not going to use you. What God's going to do is send you to hell because of your lifestyle. You cannot. That was just, it was so many different things. But like I said, I'm here to tell everybody, regardless, we got to start somewhere.
Yeah, you keep doing it God's way. God blessing for all of us. God has everything in store. He knows what we don't know. He knows the beginning to the end. We can say what we want to say because we're nothing but mere, human beings, mortal people, and we look on the outside, but God looks on the
Mhm.
inside. So all those people that think they're all that because of the outside appearance. If the heart ain't right, it doesn't matter. God wants the heart. He wants the heart, and He wants the heart to be right. If the heart ain't right, we can fake and shake all day long with men, but God sees. God sees what
Exactly.
other people don't. So I don't.
Exactly.
People say what they gotta say. It's
I
because
have
they have
family
nothing else
members
to say.
I have family members to this day telling me I'm going to hell. And I'm like, why am I going to hell? And it's like, oh, because you're playing. And I'm like, I'm playing what? Because I'm telling my story to give God the glory. I'm not the one saying, okay, I'm gonna run and rush to the pulpit, and no, I'm not doing, that's not me. That's not for me. I know where he brought me from, through and to, when
Right,
people turn their back on me. And I know it's nobody but him for the reason why I'm here. Because first off, my mother wasn't supposed to have me.
right,
And then
right,
second of
right,
all, like I said, my both sides of my family, when I was born into this world, they couldn't stand me because, like I said, again, my mother wasn't supposed to have me. So when I ended up needing them, going through cancer and everything else, if they didn't even want to deal with me in the beginning, do you think they were really going to help me when I needed them?
right, right.
No. So I have to understand that without God, nothing in my life will be possible, because without
That's
him,
all.
that's it. That's it. Without
And
him,
when people talk about somebody not going to heaven because of this or that, well, then what is your case? What is the reason you won't make it? Because we all have come short of the glory. We all have sinned, and as long as we're human, we're not going to be perfect people. We still sinning. So what's a big sin? What's a little sin? So if there's a big sin that you're committing and somebody else is committing a little sin, does that mean the little sin gonna get to heaven and the big sin won't? Sin is a sin. There is no big one. There is no little one. They all sin. So
mhm,
people, that's why when people talk stuff like that, you just have to look over them because sin is a sin in the sight of God. It doesn't matter if we choose to say somebody murdered somebody is a little sin compared to somebody sleeping with whatever, whoever, whatever. What's the difference? It's a sin.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference? What's the difference? They're all sins. What's the difference in somebody sleeping with somebody, somebody being a liar? It's just a sin.
Exactly.
What is it? So I tend not to let people say things to try to justify who I am or who God has
Well,
called me to be. So
that's what I was just
that's
about to
between
say.
me and God. You got your God, I got my God, and if when I talk to him, I talk to him. When you talk to him, you talk to him. If he answer you, I know he'll answer me because we're all sinners and he hears our prayers.
That's what I
So,
was just
so
about
there
to
is
say.
nobody perfect to sit there and say he don't hear your prayers. He hear your prayer just as much as he hear the man that told you that.
Oh, now I did have another preacher up in Florida, out in Florida. He told me, he said, Swalo, you know God doesn't hear a sinner's prayer. And I was like, so why are you praying then?
Okay, okay, okay. We all sin. Every day we come short. That's why Paul keeps telling us we have to die to sin daily because we come short every day. I mean, we're not doing out of 24 hours. There's something we did wrong. There
Oh
was
yeah.
something that I mean we can do the best we can. He said, even our righteousness is of nothing but filthy rags in the sight of God. So come on, man. We just got to just keep trying. Just keep trying to give the best we can every day. Do the best we can every day because we're never going to be good enough. But because of Jesus dying and his blood, that's made us worthy. So, hey, worthy is the Lamb. That's what I call it. And because he's worthy, then I'm worthy.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
That's it.
So I just let you know. That's why I said people, blood. That's why I sometimes choose to deal with people that are not my family.
Yeah.
I hang around, or I don't really hang around people too much anyway, because I like to be by myself in my own comfort zone in my house. I don't hardly go out. When I was younger, I did my thing. I did
Mm-hmm.
everything. Now that I'm older, I don't really go anywhere. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not no party type person. I'm not no movie type person. I go see my sisters and one at home in Wills Point, one at home in Dallas. That's where I'm at, and the other stuff is church stuff. I don't really go too much out, and be around people. I mean, it's not that I'm afraid of people, not that I can't handle people. It's just I choose to do things differently now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way I do it. All that other stuff, I lived it all. I've done it all. It's in my
Yeah.
book. I've done it all. I tell you, my book. I'm an open book. I've done it all. You name it. If you can name it, I guarantee you, I've probably done it. And I'll never. I'm first to tell people I know what I done,
Mm-hmm.
but because of what God has done, is a different story. I get to live to tell the final story of my life. Can't nobody tell it but me. So
That's
yeah,
it.
I you can say whatever you got to say. It don't bother me. As my mama, used to say, the more you talk about me, that's another brick in my new home. That's how I look at it. I don't listen to what people got to say to me. I was young, but now I'm old, and I'm not a fool. So yeah, it's all good for me. They can say what they
Yeah.
got.
I know I can't worry about what people say because
Yeah, been there, done that.
it's not about them because if it was about them, it would be their life, but it's
Right,
my life, so that's
right.
what it's
Yeah,
about me.
yeah, yeah.
And
See,
I think a lot of people get that, twisted. Well, I have to make them proud. I have to make them happy. While we're making other people proud, we're dying on the inside. While we're making
mhm,
other people proud, we're not using the talent that God instilled in us. We're
exactly.
wasting our talents. And sometimes they say, "Oh, well, they died so young."
Yeah.
Well, what were they doing with their life?
Uh-huh.
Were they using the talent that God gave them, or were they wasting their
Yeah,
life?
and we have so many questions about that stuff too. Some people is a reason. Some people die young. It's a reason to everything. And then the first thing when somebody die young is because they didn't do this. Sometimes we were just meant to be born for this length of time.
Mhm.
So but that's why I say people. They just get wild with a whole bunch of stuff, and they try to be God, and it just
Mhm.
don't work. But yeah, it's all good.
Yep. Yep. because everything happens for a reason.
That's right.
Everything happens for a reason.
That's right. That's
'Cause,
it.
you know, some of those early deaths. Now the parents, here comes the parents' talent. Some talent is going to come out in that. There's going to be some type of talent. You know, we have all kind of different organizations now, you know, nonprofit organizations, because there's been so many children that has been lost at an early age. So
Oh yeah.
so like I said, instead of people getting upset, take that and find the reason behind it, because it happens for a reason.
That's right.
So I know we got to get ready to get out of here.
Yeah. It's all
So
good.
you want to tell everybody how to get your book before we get ready?
Hey, again, all of you people out there, go get the book. Go get the book. You hear me talk about it a lot. I'm just chipping in and out when I talk about it, but I would love for you to go and get it and read it. It's on Amazon, Amazon.com. Type in the name of the book, From Dope to Doctor, Dr. Lisa Dunn. It's only $20. Get your book. If you don't need it, get it for somebody else. Share the love, because hey, we are called to be our brothers and sisters keepers. So let's build up somebody that you know may be struggling with something, even if it's not drugs, it's just anything. The struggle is real, but the book will help you, and it doesn't matter what kind of addiction you may have. The book will help in any shape, form, or fashion. So go out there and get it on Amazon. Thank you.
Yeah, the struggle is real. The
Yeah.
struggle is real. So we all need some type of I want to say what I want to say, what I want to call it, literature to go to.
Right. Oh
literature.
yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what I want to say. But anyway, until we meet again, but tomorrow,
Tomorrow, same time.
Tomorrow, same time.
Yeah.
Y'all stay blessed. Be on life on purpose, and don't let anybody stop you. And if your family members want to tell you that you cannot do it, and especially if you hear this little, still voice on the inside telling you to do it, respectfully take your life back and just use the talents that God gave you. Don't waste your talents. Right. Don't run out of time thinking that you still have time.
Right.
So
that's it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Y'all
Until tomorrow, y'all guys. Y'all be blessed.